So welcome everyone, and thank you for coming. I think we're just going to cruise on ahead. We probably won't need the full time today. And anyway, we are all here because we know you believe in innovation to solve our world's most pressing challenges. And many of you probably also are passionate about the environment, and you know that clean tech and climate tech solutions are essential to combating the climate crisis. Those of you who are clean tech entrepreneurs and innovators are doing critically important work, so thank you. And we want to hear from anyone who is an emerging entrepreneur in this space. Stick around to learn about how Cleantech Open is accelerating startups and enabling them to not only commercialize more quickly, but also giving them the tools and the contacts to have the confidence that they're doing it right. We'll hear from several MIT Innovation and Cleantech clubs and program leaders, as well as a couple of Cleantech Open alumni. If you're an emerging clean tech, climate tech, or sustainability entrepreneur, we want to hear from you. And you're welcome to provide a 1-minute pitch toward the end of the program. Please note that this is not an audition. So feel free to email or text anybody who isn't here and invite them to come along and do that. We'll have some fun. We just want to get to know everybody and learn what you're working on. And so if you're interested in giving a 1-minute pitch, please put your name in the chat along with your company name and location. But before we get into it, it is my pleasure to introduce my colleagues, Tally Kane. Tally, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tally. I am the interim program manager, as Beth.
Yes, so welcome to, thank you for all you're doing, Tally. And also Katie West, our program coordinator. Katie?
Hello, nice to meet you guys.
Thanks, Katie. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Beth Zonas, Director of Cleantech Open Northeast. So what we're going to do, without further ado, I'm going to share with you my slides about Cleantech Open. Some of you have seen this, some of you have not. But the purpose today, and we will record this, so if you want to share with others afterwards, we will be circulating the slides and the presentation. So we are focusing on combating climate change, growing the green economy, and improving environmental justice through innovation and entrepreneurship. Cleantech Open is an annual accelerator that runs May to October with the core programming June to August. And let's see, what we're doing today is, of course, a little bit unique because we are going to be hearing from the various clubs and programs at MIT as well. But here we go into Cleantech Open first. So Cleantech Open is a national program with multiple regions. It's the oldest and largest accelerator specifically for clean tech startups. We empower entrepreneurs. It's like a mini MBA. We expect 40 to 50 startups this year in the Northeast and about 100 nationwide, excuse me. In the Northeast, we're run by NECEC, the Northeast Clean Energy Council. NECEC works on clean energy policy, market development, and innovation to make this region the best place to do business in our sector. Think of NECEC as your green carpet for clean tech entrepreneurs. As a nonprofit, we don't take equity in the startups that go through the program. We are very grateful to our sponsors who help to subsidize the program. They also offer many benefits to our startups. You'll get to know them as you progress through the accelerator. Since this is a Massachusetts-based group for the most part, I do want to point out that MassCEC is one of our largest sponsors, and they offer quite a lot of opportunities for funding specifically for clean tech startups. The rest of this list represents many opportunities for our startups, ranging from mentoring to funding to pilots and much more. And we now have many in-kind sponsors offering over $300,000 worth of goods and services to the startups in our 2021 cohort. And so feel free to frequent any of these. Just because they're partners of ours does not mean that they cannot work with you as well. These include incubator and co-working spaces, consulting services ranging from marketing and communications to accounting to assistance on special projects, software packages for startups, and even financial assistance for startups participating in certain states. So a requirement of Cleantech Open is that all of our startups have solutions with an environmental or sustainability benefit. We typically have startups across all categories in each cohort. So what is Cleantech Open? So this is the essence of it. All of our startups get access to the online curriculum and to our events. These include an academy, which is what we call our boot camp that kicks off the accelerator. This year, the academy will span 3 days. This is an opportunity to be exposed to the key topics that we'll cover throughout the accelerator and to meet many key players in the industry. We'll also hold workshops for more personalized coaching. And everyone says the best part is the mentoring. We have hundreds of dedicated and experienced volunteer mentors. And in the Northeast, we're able to match as many as 4 mentors per startup. Mentors guide the startups through the curriculum. And in many cases, they stay in touch with the startups after the program has completed. We host an Investor Connect at the end of the accelerator. And this is an opportunity for startups to meet various types of investors. We also host showcases so that our startups can introduce themselves to the general public. And usually there's a separate showcase just for investors. At the end of the program in the Northeast, we have a pitch competition, and the top startups will pitch publicly. We will award $50,000 in cash prizes this year. Plus, there's another competition at the national level for additional cash and prizes. So the curriculum consists of 10 modules and 8 deliverables. It's a rigorous program. Each week during June, July, and August, you'll have a new assignment. Even if you have a business degree or business experience, creating these materials is essential to your startup. This year, we're adding an addendum to the financial modeling, by the way. So for startups, they'll be calculating their greenhouse gas emissions reduction potential. More on that later. So, not sure if any of you have seen this, but we're very proud of our impact statistics. Since 2005, Cleantech Open Northeast has graduated, even since this graphic, over 450 startups and over 1,800 nationwide. The number I'd like to call your attention to is this 68%. So 68% of our alumni are still in business. They're employing over 3,300 people. And also in 2020, 63% of our startups, as you can see in the bottom right here, had either a woman founder or a person of color as a founder. And this is improving over the last few years from about 47%. You'll also see that we had a very large cohort last year with 47 startups matched with 175 mentors. So lots going on. And if you look behind here, you'll see the region. So it's Eastern Canada, and then you'll see Maine, south through Pennsylvania. So we cover in this region 9 states plus Eastern Canada. So what's new in 2021? There are several new things. In addition to attracting more diverse participants, we'll be training the cohort on the value of building a diverse team and on how to build a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion into your cohort, into your startup from the beginning. We're introducing new curriculum content around why and how to measure greenhouse gas footprint. So this is designed, by the way, to give our startups an advantage in a world where impact measurement is increasingly important to investors, to customers, to partners, and even to your employees. This, by the way, is an effort that we're doing in collaboration with NYSERDA in New York. One of our sponsors, the Sire Foundation, is sponsoring a carbon sequestration prize this year for a company that goes through and completes the accelerator in the Northeast. Altogether, we'll give away $50,000 in cash and over $300,000 in goods and services. So lots of reasons to participate. So here's our schedule. So we will be virtual for this year, and here are the key dates. If you're selected to participate, you'll be invited to everything. So on May 10th, all of the startups will have a chance to introduce themselves and tell the mentors what they're looking for in terms of mentoring. And that's prior to our mentor matching. In addition, we'll have May 11th and 13th opportunities for startups and mentors to get to meet. And then after that, we do the matching. June 2nd through 4th is our National Academy, and we'll run several workshops during the summer. And this is only a part of the curriculum. We'll also run many webinars with additional information that is really helpful for our startups. The regional finals are on September 28th and 29th. The 29th is our big public day where the general public is invited. And then October 20th through 22nd is the global forum. And again, this is intended, this year, the anticipation is that it will all be virtual. So if you want more information, check out our media kit. We have lots of information here about upcoming events. You can share this with your friends and colleagues in your network. It's bit.ly/CTOMK 2021. And our applications are due now, so don't hesitate. If you or somebody you know you think should apply, please do so pretty soon. The deadline is April 18th. So that is bit.ly/CTO 2021. So without further ado, I want to introduce some folks from MIT to tell a little bit about their programs. And just so you know, the reason why we pulled all of you together is that we did this a couple of years ago. We had multiple groups from MIT come together and share their stories. It was done in person. It came out a little bit different, of course, but it was super fun. And we were able to interest many people in progressing their startups through multiple programs that were represented, as well as, of course, we hope, Cleantech Open. So I am going to turn it over to Alec and Claire to talk about MIT Water, the MIT Water Club, and the MIT Water Innovation Prize next. And then after that, we'll hear from, I'm just going to run through these slides and then turn it all off. Then we'll hear from Robert Cunningham of Sloan Energy Club and MIT Energy Club. He'll talk about both. And then we'll hear from Peter McHale of the Climate Tech and Energy Prize, otherwise known as CEP, and Philip Lowe, who will talk about the I-Core program and the node at MIT, Tom Luley with the MIT Innovation Initiative, and Kate Bohuck at MIT 100K. Following all of those, we're going to hear from two of our Cleantech Open alumni. Both of them are notable in that they are MIT alumni and Cleantech Open alumni. Elise had won the 2019 Cleantech Open National Grand Prize with her company AeroShield. And Islam Janina was a 2018 Cleantech Open Northeast finalist with his company that is now Carbon Bioenergy. So that's the agenda. I'm going to stop sharing, and we'll turn it over to Claire and Alec for your comments.
And am I able to share my screen?
You should be.
It says that host disabled screen sharing.
I just changed that.
Oh, thank you. All right, can you see my slide?
I can see it, Claire, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so hi, my name is Claire, and as Beth said, I'm here to tell you about the MIT Water Innovation Prize. I'm joined by my fellow co-director, Alec, and we are both second-year MBA students at Sloan. So to get us started, The MIT Water Innovation Prize is a startup competition focused on water innovation that awards up to 45,000 in innovation grants annually to student-led teams from across the country and internationally. The prize started in 2015 and has awarded 100,000 to 12 teams since then. We kick off the prize in November by opening our application after our annual kickoff event. The application is open until January, and we usually receive over 50 applications from around the globe. In January, we review the applications and narrow the pool down to about 20 semifinalists. These semifinalists go through a month of mentoring where they have the opportunity to meet with a different mentor each week. Mentors specialize in different areas such as business plan, pitches, water technology, and more. The goal is really to provide teams with mentors that will help them refine their idea and develop a sound business plan.
Thanks, Claire. Following the semifinal round in late March, actually, we just went through this process. We whittle our group of semifinalists down to a group of finalists who will be announced shortly. And those finalists go through another month of mentoring, this time one-on-one with one mentor for a 4-week period, in an effort to prepare their business plans and pitch decks for our final pitch night, which is in late April, and this year will be the first week of May. And at the pitch night, we invite our teams to present their startups to a panel of judges. And the judges will, having also pre-read their materials, will evaluate and award our innovation grants to 3 winners. Past winners have gone on to be quite successful in the water space and have joined various incubators and other startup competitions or have raised capital of their own. And one notable alum has recently been named to the Forbes 30 under 30 list in the energy category. If you're interested in learning about the prize more, please do not hesitate to reach out at the email address waterinnovation@mit.edu, or to learn more just in general, please visit our website at mitwaterinnovation.org. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Claire and Alec. And I want to, you flashed through your startups really fast, but there are a few that I wanted to point out in case you weren't aware that have gone through the program that just that I happen to know. So Clarity, Living Waters, Change Water Labs, Harmony DSAL, these are all Cleantech Open alumni who went through your program first. So just wanted to let you know that. So yeah, it's all good. This is an ecosystem. So thank you. Next up, I'm going to turn it over to Robert Cunningham. Looking forward to hearing what you have to share.
Thanks for hosting the event. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's a little faint. If you can get closer to a mic, that would be good.
Okay, thanks. I'll speak up a little bit too. First of all, I want to give Alec and Claire a shout out. I'm not a big part of the water community, but I am on the distribution list for the emails, and you guys do an awesome job of like getting the word out, and the programming seems super interesting. So great job. Now I will share my screen as well. And I'm going to start by talking about the larger club, the MIT Energy Club. So especially a lot of business school students show up on campus and are very curious as to how the Sloan Energy Club and the MIT Energy Club relate, and how there's obviously the energy initiative on campus, lots of different groups, the sustainability initiative. It gets a little confusing, but the best way to think about it is the MIT Energy Club is kind of the umbrella organization. And I'll show a graph later that illustrates that, but it's more, I'd say education focused. So it's the largest, one of the largest student-run organizations on campus. It encompasses undergrads, business school students, PhD researchers, all types of Masters of Engineering students. So pretty much the idea is anyone on campus that's interested in the space, we want involved in the community. So these are a handful of the events. I'm sure many of you have attended these, but the 3 flagship events are up top: the Energy Night, Energy Hack, and Energy Conference, which just concluded a couple of weeks ago. So all virtual this year, hoping to make those in person next year. But we think we've been able to keep the community and interest level strong during a challenging year. But yeah, we're very proud of these 3 flagship events and get a lot of good feedback on them. So this is new this year. Just want to highlight this. This is something that I'm actually the co-VP of external relations for the MIT Energy Club. So this year we pulled together an advisory board. There's kind of a fundamental problem with any student-led club where obviously leadership turns over every year. So initiatives that were important to prior presidents may not be important to the next ones. So we wanted to add kind of an institutional oversight level where someone can think in 5-year increments as opposed to 9-month increments. So we're excited to pull this board together. It's a diverse group in terms of like professions and background. And we've had a couple of meetings this year that are going really well. So we tackle tough questions like, do we want large, oil and gas companies as sponsors? And that's an example of like a tough question that, we get their opinion on. So here's a chart that.
So I want to know the answer to that.
It was an interesting debate. What we ended up doing was just going with the party line of MIT, because the energy initiative itself, some of their biggest sponsors are the oil and gas companies. And so are oil and gas companies that are actively transitioning. And I think the idea is like maintaining a dialogue and actively helping as opposed to just shutting the door. So that's where we landed as well, is, as long as they aren't, denying climate change, for example, then it's better to just continue working with them. So here's the energy ecosystem. This graph's a little bit dated, but the Energy Club kind of sits at the heart of the student-run communities on campus. And then obviously, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but the MIT Energy Initiative is more like research-driven. And then the bottom half is kind of the startup clean tech community. And lastly, so the Sloan Energy Club is a subset of the MIT Energy Club. It is for the MBA students and executive MBAs and Sloan Fellows, folks at the MIT Sloan program. So what's unique about this club is that it's laser focused on career outcomes. So it's education is part of it, but only to the extent that it helps you in interviews. We don't hold many events beyond like internal club events. It's really all about getting you in touch with alumni, with industry professionals, and helping you get an internship and get a job. So I'm actually the incoming president of the Sloan Energy Club next year, and looking forward to returning to campus and taking some of the lessons from this year and making it better than before. But thank you all very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Robert. That's super helpful. Great to learn a little bit about how you all work together. That's the other piece of why we're here today. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Peter. So Peter McHale is with the Climate Tech and Energy Prize. So take it away, Peter, and then we'll have another reason to call on you after.
So forgive me, I don't have slides, so you guys all will have to stare at my face for a minute. So the Climate Tech and Energy Prize at MIT is the oldest and largest climate tech student competition in the US. We have a $100K grand prize for the competition, but there are a variety of other benefits to the competition for anyone competing. The mentorship and network have often brought a lot of value to startups, as past competitors have told us. They bring a chance to get feedback from experts in the space you are targeting, iterate on your pitch and materials, and get wide visibility with potential investors, partners, and customers. This year, we're really focusing on redefining what CEP is about. In past years, it was called the Clean Energy Prize and had a clear central focus on energy. We have expanded this to be all of climate tech. We're starting to strategize on what the competition looks like next year, including some events in the fall, such as hackathons, panels, or pitch to match. If you have any other ideas, definitely send them my way before the prize actually happens in the spring. If you are interested in getting involved, please reach out to me. My email is pmchale@mit.edu, and I'll send that again in the chat. Additionally, our semifinals and finals are coming up. So please check out our website at cep.mit.edu. Again, I'll send that in the chat for ease. And it has details on these upcoming semifinals and finals, as well as you can subscribe to our mailing list. I'd also love to comment on the symbiotic relationship between CEP and the Cleantech Open. Many past competitors have also participated in the Cleantech Open and highly recommend it for the resources it offers, including visibility, mentorship, and community. Finding these kinds of opportunities that help place you at the center of the cleantech startup ecosystem go a long way in jumpstarting your early venture, and I can't recommend them enough. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. So you already know all about everything then from Cleantech Open. So that's great. And we do have quite a few startups that have gone through both. And I should have the names at the tip of my tongue, but I don't. Maybe Elise knows knows more of who's been through it as well, and Islan as well. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Philip Lowe to tell us a little bit about I-Corps And before Phillips does his story, I want to just let you all know that anybody who goes through I-Corps has a leg up getting into Cleantech Open and going through it smoothly. So it's a great first step. So I'm going to turn it over to Philip. Take it away.
Sure, thank you, Beth. And I believe, Taylor, do you happen to have the slide? I'm happy to share my screen as well, but if you're able to share the slide.
My computer will not open.
Oh, no worries.
I'm sorry. I struggled
No
with
worries.
that.
Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just one slide, meant to keep it short. So as Beth mentioned, the NSF I-Corps program we're fairly new at MIT, not too new, but new enough that maybe word has not gotten out far enough. But as Beth mentioned, we at I-Corps, we're a training program where we train students and postdocs to really explore commercialization and taking their technology out of the lab. So we are pretty much open to any person working on deep technology or what we consider tough tech. So we're open to graduate students, we're open to postdocs, we're open to PhD candidates, research scientists, etc. So anyone really working on deep technology that want to explore commercialization. Our bread and butter program is what we call Spark. It is a 3-week program. It's not 3 weeks in total, it's 3 weeks in total length. So not 3 weeks every day. It's broken up by 2 evening workshops, 2 office hours, and then some customer discovery in between, which we'll introduce to you during the program. And so a reason for participating in the program is that it is a great program for you to explore initial product market fit, for you to explore who your customers are, what value propositions you provide. It also qualifies you for a small micro grant to do some of the customer discovery. It also sets you up in addition for other programs, and it makes you more qualified for other programs. As Beth mentioned, this is a great starting point for Cleantech Open if you want to explore commercialization and who your customers are and value propositions. It is also an opportunity for you to apply for the national NSF I-Corps program, which is where you get $50,000 to do some more customer discovery. And lastly, it increases your chance of applying for an SBI or STTR, which is otherwise known as a Small Business Innovation Research Award. And so your chances of getting that on a first shot is about 60% as opposed to 10% by going through the National I-Corps program. And so this program is completely free. We don't charge this. It's something that we're mandated to do from NSF because we are funded by the National Science Foundation. We run this program quite frequently on campus. We have 3 program dates in April, and it's a cohort-based model. Again, it's completely free. It's not just for MIT, it's also for Harvard and any schools in the Northeast ecosystem. And so it's a completely free training for you to kind of explore commercialization. We don't look at ourselves as a competition to other programs. We are just part of the ecosystem. And so we're here to help you and guide you. And a lot of our teams go on to other programs within MIT, but also out of MIT. So Elise, who you'll be hearing from in a little bit, as well as Islam, are both I-Corps alumni of ours, and so they've been through the program themselves. So if you want to find out more information, the website is there. The email is also on the bottom. And again, we have 3 upcoming cohorts. If that's of interest, you can either reach out to the I-Corps email, or I'll put my email in the chat as well. Thank you.
Fabulous, Philip. And I highly recommend your program as well. And I will tell you that we have quite a number of I-Corps mentors who are also mentors for Cleantech Open. So they're very familiar with the process, which is really helpful. So next up is my former colleague, Tom Luley, who's with the MIT Innovation Initiative. Tom, take it away.
All right, and sorry, I've had my video off here. I'm out today, and the internet my bandwidth is not great. So hopefully you can all hear me. Let me just share a few slides. So hi everyone, I'm Tom Luley, Senior Program Manager at the MIT Innovation Initiative. And as Beth mentioned, I had the pleasure of working with her actually in a previous program at MIT. So she and I go way back. Yeah, really excited to be here and share with you a little bit more about who we are and what we do, since not everyone on campus is familiar with the Innovation Initiative, even if they've heard of us before. So I know that I just have a minute or two, so I will keep this very brief, but I'll say up front, I'm always looking forward to connecting with startup teams, or just people who are interested in perhaps taking their idea and turning it into a startup. We have a couple programs that are addressed squarely at this, and one of them I have the pleasure of working with Philip on, and the iCore team as well. So briefly, just kind of who we are, what we do. We are an office that is part of the Provost's office, and our entire our remit is the entire campus. So we're not specific to like the School of Engineering or Sloan or anything like that. We span the entire campus. And if we think about it, a place like MIT, the top three kind of big activity areas: research, education. There's this third that's innovation. And because innovation is a bit of a buzzword, I just wanted to stop here real fast and point out kind of the MIT definition of innovation. So a lot of this comes with work that we've done with Professor Fiona Murray at Sloan, who's Associate Dean for Innovation and Inclusion, and one of our two faculty co-directors. Real quick, innovation is something that is a process that we think about here at MIT of taking ideas from inception to impact. And that idea is that match between a problem and a solution. And so there are just a wealth of programs such as iCore that Philip mentioned, and I highly encourage that you check that out, that help you kind of validate that match between problem and solution. But we also, we work with a lot of startups. We do work with organizations, NGOs, corporations, governments that are not startups as well, because we recognize that while, startups get a lot of the focus as for being kind of, in some sense, the preferred vehicle for ideas to impact, it is by far the only, from being the only one. So there are really, a bunch of ways of looking at this. So, again, we look at innovation as a process and then figure out how can we strengthen that here on campus. And so part of what we do is act as the connective tissue between, the 85 plus innovation and entrepreneurship entities on campus. We work with all the schools to put an innovation and entrepreneurship curriculum. So we have the I&E minor, for example, for undergrads. We're working with Aero Astro right now, the first of probably several future departmental collaborations to help them produce an innovation certificate for their PhDs and postdocs. We have these new, what we call idea to impact programs. And so maybe you've heard of some of these, like MIT Proto Ventures, which is kind of taking a stage gate experimental approach to innovation and getting these projects closer to becoming an actual startup. The Venture Exploration Program, which actually I think Islam took part in last summer, and that's something that has iCore at the core. So again, we find that teams really do benefit from that customer discovery experience, and it does set you up well for future, as Beth pointed out, for future opportunities such as Cleantech Open. So really encourage you to take a look at that. And then, also another thing is really paying attention to issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion in innovation and entrepreneurship. These things are so important, and scoring well in those factors is linked to better other factors in terms of entrepreneurship. So we want to do more to kind of get the word out about that and really take a good hard look at MIT and see what we can be doing better in that regard. We have a resource guide on our website that has links to, again, just about every single innovation club, program, department, lab, center, you name it, on campus. We have a lot of events that get posted there as well. So do check out our website, innovation.mit.edu, for a little bit more on that. And think of this as kind of like a good kind of front door to all the I&E resources on campus. We know there are a lot, and our goal is to try to kind of simplify finding them at least a little bit more. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. Feel free to shoot me an email. We look forward to that picture, by the way, right there is a hackathon that we did in front of Stata a couple years ago. One thing that I did not point out here in this slide deck, but I'll mention briefly before I close, is that we are actually opening the new Innovation HQ, the new Innovation headquarters building on campus. It's going to be in the former MIT Press bookstore. If any of you know where that is, across the street from the Chipotle in Kendall Square. So it's actually open right now, not open to the public, unfortunately, but we're really excited about that. There's going to be some really cool maker spaces, team spaces, alumni venture spaces. We're looking forward to sharing more about that. And you can actually get a sneak peek of that on our website as well. So I'll stop there. But yeah, please feel free to get in touch.
That is awesome, Tom. What you're the scope of what you're doing is fabulous, and I love the definitions. So thank you for that. Really great. And our last MIT club speaker is Kate Bowe. If I'm not saying it right, please help me. With MIT 100K, that also has been a feeder to Cleantech Open, and I believe that Elise was part of MIT 100K, as were many others. So take it away, Kate.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, Kate Bowe is my maiden name, and then Hoik is my married name. So I'm in.
Okay, thanks.
So it's either's fine. But I'm here on behalf of 100K, which is the largest and one of the largest and longest running student-run entrepreneurship competitions. It's open to people, across MIT. The majority of people on the organizing committee are from Sloan, but we have competitors and team members from across the institute. We host 3 events per year, and each represents kind of a different stage in the startup process. Pitch is held in the fall, and then that is for people, it's like a 60-second pitch, very quick, more of an idea, rough business plan, rough team. Then in March, we host Accelerate. Which is for you have a product a little bit farther along in your development stage. And in May, we have our launch, which is the finalist wins the $100,000 prize. And there are various prizes at each stage of the competition. Typically, we have around 20 finalists or semi-finalists participate in each round, and then usually 10 make it to a final round. But kind of details vary for each of those events. You don't have to be in all of 3. So the competition in each of those 3 competitions is open to, you don't have to do them sequentially. So if you're at an early stage, you can just do pitch. If you're at a later stage already, you can apply for launch. And along the way, we also offer a lot of mentoring opportunities and access and workshops and access to kind of seasoned entrepreneurs and venture capitalists at each stage. We try to tailor who we recruit to be judges and mentors according to whom has made it to the semi-final round. So the more sustainability people apply and make it into the competition, the more kind of mentorship opportunities we're going to focus on within kind of that context. What else? We're not sustainability specific, but I would say a healthy amount of our applicants and competitors end up being in the sustainability space. I just took a rough look, and from our Accelerate competition, our finalists, which we just had at the beginning of March, around 20% of our finalists were in the sustainability space. And last year's 2020 launch is the big event with the $100,000 prize. I think almost 50% of the finalists were in the sustainability space, just from like a rough count. So definitely a popular area, and among for judging and for products and from audience choices. And so we welcome all participants. We are currently accepting applications for launch, which is the full business plan competition. I don't have a slide to share, but if you go to mit100k.org, you'll see the link to apply. That closes March 31st, and the competition will be at the end of May.
Excellent. Wow, that's really great to hear that there so many are in sustainability too. So yeah, and by the way, full disclosure, I actually have been a mentor for the MIT 100K, and I have worked very closely with Bill Aulett as well. So in fact, I believe that that Elise and I were paired as a team, but when she went through the 100K, which is very cool. So I'm going to turn it over to Elise. Elise Stroback is one of our winners from Cleantech Open. She and AeroShield won the National Grand Prize in 2019 and has they've gone on to expand their team and win up many other awards and fellowships and funding and things seem to be rolling forward very nicely. So take it away, Elise.
Yeah, thanks, Beth. Very, very excited to be here, of course, because, you know, this is the ecosystem that made AeroShield happen. So for those of you who haven't met, my name is Elise Strobach, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of AeroShield. We're working to manufacture porous glass insulation to enable energy efficient windows. And that's just because that's a massive problem. $40 billion every year goes right out the windows, and we continue to install those same kind of products. But when I was at MIT working on my PhD in mechanical engineering, working on this material, this silica aerogel, which is like one of the world's most insulating materials, and we had a breakthrough with being able to get the optical properties really clear. But I could barely spell entrepreneur, let alone like even contemplate what that would look like to drive that kind of innovation to impact. But in kind of the space, started out at MIT, actually was funded by the Deshpande Center for Innovation. So also connected to a lot of these organizations, but they kind of pointed us in the direction of, you know, if you're really trying to have impact with the technology that you're working on, which was definitely our goal, that you really have to understand like what all the barriers are to that commercialization. And so that was where we started to talk to industry and customers. And it became very apparent that there was a lot of wealth of work that we could do that could really change things. But it wasn't just research. A lot of the big challenges were actually all of the auxiliary pieces that come around with that. And, you know, I think that, you know, between the MIT ecosystem and Cleantech Open, like we were able to get all those tools to understand that and be ready to spin out the company by the end of my PhD. And I think it just kind of speaks to the power of, like, you know, we were part of, you know, Cleantech Open, Clean Energy Prize were some of the first touch points where we went out and really tested our idea. You know, definitely went through Accelerate and Launch for 100K and met mentors and networks and built up in a really sequential way. But I think the other piece that I'll just mention is I think Cleantech Open in particular does a really nice job of complementing the resources at MIT. So it's not the same ecosystem. It's a new one, it's a new community, and they are incredibly complementary. And that was so important for AeroShield in the early days. We didn't understand everything that we didn't even know. And Cleantech Open kind of took us through that program, you know, kind of showed us the community, pointed us to a lot of these resources that we ended up coming back to sometimes, like even the MIT Innovation Initiative. Like we didn't really interact with those because as a graduate student, I didn't necessarily self-identify as an entrepreneur. Cleantech Open was definitely the time at which that changed and changed in like a really fundamental way and gave us this vision for going forward. So yeah, I would just say that like all of these resources are super useful and would use them all you can because it's just such a pivotal experience and a lot of fun and shows you a lot about yourself, regardless of what stage or where it goes.
Well, thank you very much, Elise. It's always a pleasure to hear your story. And it's great to see how far you've come since those first days when you were just starting out. It's very cool. So I'm going to turn it over to Islam Janina, who went through the program in 2018 and was a regional finalist with his company Carbon Bioenergy. So take it away, Islam.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Beth. So to give you a little background about carbon bioenergy, we're developing a platform technology that can transform carbon dioxide together with organic waste into useful industrial chemicals and biofuels. We started at the MIT D-Lab back in 2017 and pivoted a couple of times. And we also participated in many of the programs that are part of the rich innovation environment at MIT. Usually at MIT, we find people that have a great technology and they know the science behind it. And if they want to take it to market, then this is when Cleantech Open comes in, and at least that has been the case for us. We participated in Cleantech Open in 2018, and it helped us in a number of ways. First, the learnings we got from the programming, the curriculum, the homework that we had to submit each week helped us kind of identify and understand the market, the customer needs, and it also taught us how to think about the problem from the perspective of the customer. Second, the mentorship. As Beth mentioned earlier, mentorship is the best part of Cleantech Open. It's an essential and really helpful element of the program. Our mentors had experience in relevant industries and were able to provide very valuable feedback and input. Some of them are also entrepreneurs, so they have been there, done that. And we're still in touch with some of our mentors until now. Third, the network we developed from Cleantech Open has opened doors for us. For example, we were connected with potential investors. Another important asset we got from the network at Cleantech Open is being connected to people who are rooted in industries relevant to our work, which helped us identify potential partnerships and collaborations as well. We also participated in a few competitions at MIT, like the 100K Water Innovation Prize and the Energy Prize. And in order for us to compete, we needed to have a good understanding of things like market sizing, customer pain points, financial projections, etc., etc. And all of those are things that we developed during Cleantech Open. We also participated in the NSF Regional iCore program, which helped us do customer discovery. Additionally, the Sandbox Innovation Fund, the PKG Ideas Global Challenge, Delta V, were all helpful programs, and we strongly advise that you take advantage of those programs while at MIT. Thank you.
That's a lot of programs. I didn't realize you had done all of those. That's fantastic. And we had actually met, I believe, when there was a group at MIT called the Waste Alliance, which no longer exists. So, but maybe there's some other folks who are working on that topic these days. Anyway, great group. Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing your stories. We have two people who've asked to share their pitches. So I'd love to give them a chance to do a quick 1-minute pitch each, I think. And then we could just open it up after that, I guess, if anyone has any other questions or comments. So first off, I guess I will turn it over to Peter McHale. Back to Peter. So his company is Gaia AI. So take it away, Peter.
Thanks. You're going down, Rob. No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you. Gaia AI utilizes robotics and AI to make trees a viable and economical carbon sequestration solution. Trees are incredibly effective at sucking carbon out of the atmosphere and into their own biomass and soil around them. But our current markets do not make forestation an attractive use for land. Gaia will use the tech I've worked with in the autonomous vehicle industry to decrease the fundamental costs of forestry and increase the value of the planted forests by making them more dense, more resilient, and better measured. We have won second place of 49 teams in an MIT deep learning competition for our holistic AI approach, have conducted over 60 customer and expert interviews, and have several eager first customers for our first pilot, have landed a partnership with a major LiDAR supplier, made it to the finals of the MIT 100K pitch and accelerate competitions, and have begun early prototyping on our hardware and software. We're excited for the future. Thank you.
Wow, and I'm excited to see your application. That sounds fantastic. And as you know, we have a carbon sequestration focus this year, so you would probably be in the running for that. So that's fabulous. Really cool. So Robert Cunningham, why don't you take it away with your story about Canopy?
60-second pitch competition last night, so this timing works great. I'm trying to share. Here we go. Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Robert. I'm a first-year MBA student at Sloan. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and recently watched 3 500-year flooding events devastate my hometown in a 5-year period. So urban sprawl creates oppressive subclimates, suppresses local biodiversity, and overwhelms stormwater infrastructure. Green roofs can combat these externalities and are increasingly mandated by cities, but their benefits remain poorly understood by the private sector. No tool exists for real estate developers and architects to quickly quantify the costs and numerous benefits associated with adding a green roof to their project. Canopy's platform uses open source geospatial data, local tax incentives, and dozens of other custom inputs to quickly calculate the installation cost, payback period, and ROI of adding a green roof. And it connects project developers to a robust network of green roof installers and financing partners. Canopy enables and encourages sustainable economic development in a way that roofing alternatives do not. With the decarbonization of the electric grid somewhat of a foregone conclusion at this point, we feel that rooftop solar doesn't go far enough in metrics that matter to local quality of life. We're in the very early stages of feeling out this business model and space, so any feedback, guidance, connections would be much appreciated. Thanks so much.
Very interesting, Rob. Very curious to learn more about your plan and your idea. So sounds like you're off to a great start. So thank you both for your pitches. Is there anyone else who would like to pitch, or are we done with that part? Don't be shy. I would just like to open it up. I think we can conclude our meeting shortly, but if anyone has any comments or questions, I think we can just open your mic and feel free to shout it out.
So I'll unmute myself. So Beth, I clearly there's a lot of resources here. So I guess what would be most helpful? Thank you for organizing this, but what would be most helpful in the immediate short term? Would you like us to promote the applications for Cleantech Open, or what would the outcome from this
Yes.
call be?
We'd like to, I think what we should do is stop recording, because I think we're done with the recording part.